We are live.
Are we live?
What's up, YouTube? So, Joe, do you mind muting me for a second? Cool. So, this is what we're about to do, y'all. We're about to have an instant live discussion. I think Joe just left. We're about to have a live discussion about the Star Wars prequels. This is Star Wars week. Everybody, thanks everybody for joining. It's about to go down.
Oh, yeah. It's going down.
See, the music even solidified it.
Sorry, I accidentally quit.
Nah, you good, Joe?
So the prequels do that to you sometimes.
Yeah, it like literally tears you away from the essence of knowledge. But yeah, we're gonna go and dissect these. We're only gonna be running for 30 minutes, y'all. So hopefully y'all enjoy this. We're gonna try to tackle as much content as we can. We've got a couple other people that might be joining in as well. So keep it locked. I guess the first question is, how did we feel about the prequels when we first saw them in the theaters? Not how we feel about them now, when we saw them in the movie theaters. Jor-Els, you want to go first, and I'll let Joe go?
Sure. When I first seen them, I think when I first seen them, I think I liked them. I'm not sure if I liked the merchandise that came with it or the movie more, but I think I liked the movies, at least, for sure. Because when those movies came out, it was like the toys, the games, blah, blah, blah. But I think I liked them. You know, I didn't love them, but I think I liked them, though. I was more about the merch, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a lot of people back then. What about you, Joe?
I mean, I liked it. I think the episode 2 is probably the weakest of the 3, but overall I enjoyed it.
Yeah, at the current time, I hate the movies, but just to be clear.
I mean, when I first came out, like how I felt about them when they first released, I was like, I mean, I wasn't blown away by them, but you know, I would catch it here and there, like especially like after they started coming out on like TV and stuff like that. I'm like, you know, I catch it here and there or whatever. So I mean, this didn't blow me away, but I was just like, okay, this is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. For me, when I first started watching it, specifically in 1999 when The Phantom Menace came out, I was one of the most excited kids that you could think of. Like, I remember the VHS versions of the original ones that we had, and I didn't even, like, we got those really late, and those were like borrowed from somebody else. And it was like, I fell in love with looking at the second one, then the third one. I didn't even see the first one that much. I was just like, wow, this is the same franchise. This gets to tell me how Darth Vader became Darth Vader. Like, when it was first out, I was super excited about it. Like, I literally got to the theaters. Even in spite of everything, I found some kind of way of liking it. It was really strange. Even like the second episode, which was definitely the weakest. And oh my gosh, if y'all look at our discussion on that, we just dissect that. And anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But it was like moments like when Obi-Wan went to the location to find the clones. I thought that was a really awesome set piece, as well as actually seeing Yoda fight for the first time. Even like the third one. Like, each time I saw the prequels, I was really excited to watch them. It was like everybody else is kind of like hating on it. But I was really excited about it. It wasn't until a couple of years that, man, what happened? And I think part of that is also me understanding the weight of the originals and actually seeing the richness of the performances, just as well as the set design and almost all the work that was put into this sci-fi epic that was diminished because of special effects and not necessarily poor acting, but poor scripting, writing. But definitely when I first watched it, like, I was really hyped. I was really excited after every single one. Nobody can tell me that otherwise. But yeah. So now let's talk about how we feel about them now. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Mine's real short. I think the first two are a 2 out of 10. I think the third one's a 3 out of
10. Oh snap! Okay, all right. Well, give me a little bit more meat than that. Like, what is it? What is it about these? Since you've been, I know you're on Return of the Jedi now, doing your rewatch and your reviews, which have been awesome. As far as reactions, what is it? Looking at the originals and comparing them to this one that puts them to that low grade for you.
Oh my God! It's oh man, it's almost on every aspect, really. I mean, even just like at a visual level, I think that the original films are so far ahead because even though the effects are dated, there's much more of a sense of like you're being submerged in a tactile, lived-in world in the original trilogy, more so than the prequels. The prequels, honestly, it just looks like someone had like a green screen paintbrush and just painted it all over the fucking place. Like nothing has that tactile feel to it in the prequels. It honestly, there's so many times where it just blatantly, I was like, yep, they're definitely on the green screen. They are definitely on the green screen. You know what I mean? At least in the original trilogy, like, even though effects were dated, it just felt real, because, I mean, it was real, literally. Yeah. I mean, even just at a visual level, it's like, oh my God.
I don't know what you just said, bro. I literally, I kid you not, when you started describing it, I could hear nothing. I don't know what happened.
Oh. Well, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine now. Hey, Joe,
Okay.
switch to the juice. That'll help. All right. Sorry, I'll let you go over again.
All right. Well, what was the last thing that you heard?
Like, literally, you were about to go, like, well, XYZ, and then that was it. I didn't hear anything after that.
Oh. Well, a real quick summary is that I feel like the prequels failed on every single level that the original trilogy succeeds.
Okay.
One thing that's big is visually, even at a visual level, the prequels, the thing that's so great about the original trilogy on a visual level is that even though it's dated, you feel like you're in a tactile, lived-in world,
Okay.
And with the prequels, it just feels honestly like they had like a green screen paintbrush and just painted it all over the fucking place. Like it just, there's so many instances in the prequels where like it honestly just looks like they're walking around on a green screen parking lot or something.
Yeah, I agree. As far as when I think about like the prequels,
and just the plot narratives of the original are way better. Like it's mind blowing how much better they are. Again, dated effects and all, sure. Acting's a little bit different, but I mean, things were weird in the 70s and 80s, all right? But I mean, other than that, I mean, just like plot narrative-wise, completely trumped the prequels. Like, even with, I was blown away by Empire Strikes Back, like the kind of like the psychological turmoil that they got into. Like when Luke has to, when he had to go inside this place in that forest where Yoda lives in, and like he just had like this whole like almost like a daydream mind fuck or something. It was weird because he was still awake. It's not like he was asleep. I mean, and there were some great metaphors there, and like the prequels doesn't have that sort of depth to them,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Cringe-worthy for me.
Things I didn't like. So I agree with both of those fronts, but I'm also going to go into a whole different thing that probably a lot of people don't talk about. As far as the visual effects, yeah, they had I think that George was like, now I have the ability of really doing anything I want to as far as character design, and technically with a lot less work. But I feel like the work that he put in to make the gravitas of this nostalgic science fiction epic, which was the first three, got taken out by him substituting all the CG in. I mean, even like episode 1, there was a lot more, set design and puppetry than even the rest of the sequels. The rest of the sequels, it was just like, this is all green screen for the most part. When I was looking at the original trilogy, specifically Empire Strikes Back, I was looking at these sets, and I was like, especially when like they had Han frozen in carbonite, and then they took the whole, on a whole different level, psychologically and visually, that fight sequence. Even though it wasn't a lot going on, it was an emotional, psychological build that got to that point. Specifically, even when Luke got to, like you said, going to meet Yoda. Think about this. This is a puppet, bro. Like, when I was sitting there doing my review for Empire Strikes Back last night, I said to myself, the best actor in this one might be Yoda. Because this puppet, I'm sitting there listening to him on a philosophical level, as well as now looking at the prequels. That's one thing I do like about the prequels. It actually shows where Yoda came from in a sense. But seeing like just how on edge he is and trying to get this boy to understand the weight that he's really carrying, it was so many messages in it. And then just how he moved and reacted, I was like, this seems like a real person. Like, it literally felt like so much of what they could have done in these prequels that they kind of just lost out on, like you said, with the visual effects and the scope of it. Now, the other thing I didn't like is a lot of people didn't say, okay, this was great acting in the original trilogy. When I sit there and looked at The Empire Strikes Back and even A New Hope, and I was sitting there listening to Mark Hamill and watching his mannerisms and even watching Han Solo, they built these characters. They're not like anything that we've ever seen before. And I think that they couldn't at the time assess, like, okay, well, science fiction movies, like, this is okay. This is just their own weird kind of thing. When I look back at this and I sit down and look at the way that they actually did the characters and how much love they put into it, even the dialogue, it felt like it was authentic. It felt like they were going back and forth, and they had their own separate personalities, And that's, I think, that's one of the things that defeats the prequels, because the prequels, the whole purpose of them is to try to lead up to the original trilogy. But it was like, when you hear dialogue, specifically in episode 2, between like Hayden Christensen or Natalie Portman, and even, I think Ewan McGregor didn't have as many bad liners, but it was just the execution of them. They came off so campy. And estranged, and it was like, you lose yourself into thinking like this is a realistic situation. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think when Liam Neeson was Qui-Gon, he's the only character I was like, okay, this seems like an authentic character that is his own. And that might be because like George was trying to get them to be this point that they've already been in the prequels and the sequels. But I think the acting is just wasn't up to par to what these people are actually capable of. I think that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on, Joe had mentioned in one of your guys' reviews that he didn't, wasn't sure about there being like exceptional acting in the Star Wars like original trilogy, which I thought was a funny point. Which I mean, I agree to a certain extent. I don't think that any of the acting, any of the whole saga is like exceptional. That being said, the acting in the original trilogy is for sure better than the prequels to me. I mean, even just as one instance from Empire Strikes Back, when Han Solo got put in that carbonite whatever block, you know what I mean? And like the look of fear on Leia's face while that was happening, and while she was looking at Vader, I was just like, yo, she's really acting right now. Like, she truly seems like viscerally afraid. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just one example, but no, I think that the acting in the original trilogy is better than the prequels for sure.
Yeah. Joe, I'm gonna let you get some time to talk about what was the thing you didn't like, because actually the next thing we're gonna talk about is what we did like about it. So this is gonna be interesting.
Snap. I mean, what I did like about the prequels was
Yeah, we're talking about what you didn't like.
what I didn't like.
Yeah, we're about to talk about what you did like in a
What I
second.
didn't like about the prequel. So, a couple of things, right? So, I didn't like the whole Anakin Padme romance. I mean, I hated Jar Jar Binks. I hated his character. uh, and I think some of definitely some of the lines are pretty cheesy. A lot of the lines are pretty cheesy, actually. Um, and one thing I don't like, and this is probably just me, but I don't like how I don't see the connection. I think like Vader's character, man, like Anakin Skywalker, like after he fights Obi-Wan Kenobi, um, and then he pretty much gets put in that black suit, that infamous black suit. Yet I don't know. It's like he becomes a totally different person. Like even when you see the backstory, like to me, it's like he becomes a totally different person.
Are you saying like you think that like his reasoning for becoming Darth Vader isn't that convincing, I guess, or wasn't executed that well?
It's just kind of watching them. It's like they seem like totally opposite people. Like from Vader and Anakin Skywalker. Like when I look at Vader, I don't see him at all like Anakin Skywalker. And I don't know if that's because they wanted them to do that way, or that's intentional, or it's just like what I'm saying, the mishap.
No, I totally agree. I feel like from when Mace Windu, when he dies, from that point on all the way to the end credits, I was just like, the fuck, Anakin. it was like Anakin went from like just 0 to 100. I was just like what? Like all of a sudden, like you're okay with like killing kids and fucking. I was just like, what the hell? It almost felt like George Lucas, like he had the pen, and out of nowhere George was like, he's just gonna be evil now. You know what I mean?
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it doesn't help either that, like, pretty much like here's the escalation of, and the kind of like this guy just plummets. His moral compass just plummets. But not only that, there's not real room to relate to him because it doesn't really make sense why he plummets that quick, in my opinion. Yeah, he becomes like disillusioned. I think they pretty much explained it like it's because of the dark side. Really like kind of like he's been taken over by the dark side kind of thing. Which that I can understand. But then, even then, like, what I'm saying, you have James Earl Jones, what I'm saying, playing the voice of Vader, and it's just like, yo, like, that his voice even gets deeper. It's just like, and I don't know if it's just because of the suit, but it doesn't sound like a robotic voice. It sounds like that's actually him speaking. So it's just like, I was like, it's just the contrast is just too stark for me, man. That's probably the biggest sore thumbs in the movie. In the series, I have to say, like, that kind of like sticks out.
Yeah.
So
I think didn't we talk about this show? When it comes to it's an echo. Um, when it comes to the execution of Anakin's progression to the dark side, that it's like so blatant, but yet they don't execute it the right kind of way because his reasonings behind it is not good. And it really, I guess, comes to a shift in episode 2. And the reasoning behind it is like his, his temptation with all the secrecy between him and Lord have mercy. I'm not gonna call her that name. Let's just say Natalie Portman was a little bit too friendly in her temptation of this man. It unraveled him because I could see the weight of everything. But it was like she put him in this situation. Like she put him in the whole situation. I'm just like, what is she doing? And then what I thought would have been perfect is when his mother died, you see his descent from that point. And they show him, killing the Sand People. Yeah, he went from, 0 to 100 real quick, but it's for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that what would have been better is him contemplating whether or not his ideals of being a Jedi are correct. I mean, he kind of talked about it here and there when it came to Obi-Wan, but it was like by the time he got to episode 3, it was like, I have to keep my family. I have to be a Jedi Master. They're never going to make me a Jedi Master. He's being pulled from Palpatine and he's being pulled from Jedi, which I don't think they should have done that. They shouldn't have played him like that, personally. And I mean, that fits to a fault, but it was like it was all rushed and it wasn't taking time to authentically make him the Darth Vader that we know. I think that with the voice changer, though, Joe, I think that, well, of course we know that J.Z. Jones was only the voice of Darth Vader. It was actually another person in the suit. But it was like, I guess they saying that the suit actually augments the voice. Because when he takes off the mask in like the last episode, which was Return of the Jedi, it's a whole different voice. And everybody was like, what the heck? But either way, I think those were definitely some pitfalls. I think that they would have executed it the right kind of way. And even other thing that me and Joe were talking about, and I know we're talking about a lot of negative stuff. We're about to talk to some positive stuff in a little bit, y'all. When Obi-Wan's like, Anakin, this is it. I have the high ground. He's like, you overestimate my power. And then this ninja gets freaking chopped up. His legs chopped off, the other arm. Ironically, the other arm, not the arm that he had already lost, the other arm. So he has no limbs. And
I'm sorry,
he's just crawling.
Oh man, I laughed so hard at that part. The look on Anakin's face, bruh, like he looked like a straight heroin addict.
I mean, it's like what we had said when we were talking about our discussion with it is that the Force, the dark side of the Force, literally took him over from coming from fear, in which, I mean, of course, Yoda went through the whole exact perspective of it, but I really feel like this was something that really consumed him. It wasn't even just the power. It was almost like there was a shroud over everybody, like as far as the blinders of Yoda and Mace Windu not finding out that Palpatine knew what he knew, especially looking over it again, I was like, they should have caught that. Even Yoda said, we should have caught that. The whole thing with the clones, how did they not catch that? And it was like, I felt like there was really a shroud of the dark side literally there, but the movie itself didn't execute that in the right kind of way. It didn't express it that there was a dark side of the Force that literally was messing up everything. It just kind of improvised it over bad dialogue and pacing, where it could have been like, this is a real entity that's taking over these people, or messing up or distorting the alignment of the Force. They never went into that well as they could have. But what I was getting at is when Anakin all of a sudden, just kind of stuck there with no limbs, he starts burning. I'm like, not Yoda, Obi-Wan, couldn't you have used the Force to pick him out of the fire? I mean, like, douse the dude with some water, spit on him or something. Like, he just sat there and let this man burn alive.
Oh no!
And what he gonna do? He ain't gonna
live. No, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was no fucks given at that point. He was like, Kenobi was killing me. He was like, He's like trying not to look at shit. He's like, oh man, did I do that? Oh man.
Oh. I just didn't think that was something that he would have just let happen. I couldn't imagine him just letting this. I mean, if he had fell, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was no way of, Obi-Wan being able to pick him up. I mean, you got the power of the Force, bro. Like, you can take your dude that you train and at least keep him from burning alive. I mean, I would hate you too after that.
I mean, to be fair, these motherfuckers been fighting for like 60 minutes up until that point, so I guess Kenobi just said, fuck. These motherfuckers are fighting on tables, on balconies, on like lava rivers and shit up until that point. I guess he was through with it, man. He was done. He's like, I'm gonna watch you cook.
Oh my gosh. All right, so we talked about enough bad. What were the good things that we liked about the trilogy? This prequel trilogy.
Oh God.
Yeah, we got to go there, man. We can't be biased. We got to talk about. I mean, well, I think this is a better question. I mean, you can talk about what are the good things you liked about it, but when you really think about it, the existence of these prequels, do they help or hurt the mythology of the Star Wars universe? Like, if they had never made these prequels, right?
Yeah.
And it was just left for the generation that was our parents' generation, and we had never got actual prequels, would that have helped or hurt the eventual, what we get today, which is The Force Awakens? Like, how does that look as far as the universe if they had never made the prequels? That's the best question.
Well, I mean, in regards to that, I think the original question is fine. But, I mean, in regards to that question, honestly, if history was as it was, but the prequels weren't there, I think it would have been better, personally. Because, mystery has never just not worked, okay? It's never not worked. I mean, there's a reason why that big-ass astronaut dude, I mean, obviously if we exclude Prometheus, but the big-ass astronaut dude in the original Alien, there's a reason why, even though there was no answer for that for years and years and years, but it still fascinated people, the mystery, even though there was no answer. I think a similar situation would happen if the prequels weren't there. I mean, yes, it would be kind of nice to have like a clear-cut reason as to why Vader is the way he is, and like that sort of backstory. Honestly, I think the mystery would have prevailed, and we wouldn't be talking about shitty Star Wars. We wouldn't be talking about shitty Star Wars movies. I mean, honestly, seriously. I mean, I know some people definitely don't love Return of the Jedi as much as the first two, but it's not like a Godfather situation where most people just hate their Godfather. So I think things would have been better if there weren't any prequels, honestly. Especially if like there was no prequels and there was just original trilogy and then Force Awakens. What? It would have been insane, man. Insane.
So I would have to disagree in that our generation, right? And I say this a lot. I mean, when I think about Teen Titans, and I think about this crappy Teen Titans Go that they got, and then now they're going to be eventually releasing a new Justice League for the next era that's supposed to bring back from, what they used to have. It's like, it's that same exact connection to me when I think about the original series, that terrible Ewok movie, these prequels, and then we get the animated version of the Clone Wars, and then we get the CG version of the Clone Wars. If these prequels were never made, we would never have gotten this amazing animated feature in the way that they did on that level, because they got the funding through these movies, regardless if the movies were crappy or not. And then after that, they came out with a whole 5-season series that even pushed the envelope further. What I'm saying is that they made something that would allow for the generations to stand. And it's like, regardless of how good or bad these prequels were, they left the legacy of the Star Wars for this generation that we are, and then for our children that we're going to have. And if that never happened, I don't think that we could say that we even would have maybe even gotten a Force Awakens at all. I think that, be quite honest with you, if they would have never made the prequels for this one, I don't think they would have ever come out with Episode 7. I really don't feel like the group would have come back. It's when I think about Fast and Furious.
That's probably true.
With the Fast and Furious,
if the prequels never existed, I was just gonna say, all I was saying is if the prequels like never existed, but history still continued as it did, but there was just no prequel. But no, I do agree with you. There wouldn't be Force Awakens if they didn't. Yeah.
But I was thinking about how Fast and Furious came out, and then Too Fast, Too Furious came out, and that was dirt from a lot of people's perspective. I actually find it funny, but it wasn't a Fast and Furious movie. And then when it came out Tokyo Drift, everybody was like, all right, I'm done. But then they saw Dominic Toretto at the last part of it, and then they came out with all the rest of these movies, and it's just like they've built a whole new dynasty just from that, But if they had never made Tokyo Drift and added that one sequence, it would have never got to the point where it got. So that's just my thoughts. But I guess we can go ahead and delve into what do we like about this trilogy. Who wants to go first? Joe, you want to go first? Because I think I talked too much. I'll mute mine.
Oh, so what I liked about the prequels was the amount of deception that took place over all three movies. Because I mean, if you think about just how the Sith, he played everybody like a fiddle. Not only that, but one thing I also liked was just how everything happened was really by chance. It was really by chance. And you get to see how these critical events take place that, what I'm saying, could have easily been would have changed the course of the Star Wars legacy. For instance, right? So Anakin killing Samuel L. Jackson's character. If Samuel L. Jackson would have pretty much apprehended the Sith, that would have been a totally different story. Not only that, but what else? What else happened? It was different moments like that were really if one detail was changed, it would have changed everything. I was thinking about another example too, because I had my answer already thought about, but I forgot another detail that happened, and I was just and it was a very small detail too. I was if this joint happened, everything would have changed. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I forgot. But yeah, I mean, just the amount of deception. They pretty much had all the Jedi deceived or misled or didn't know what was going on. Just completely oblivious, not completely, but pretty oblivious to everything that was going on the entire time. And it was just I was just wow. Because you would think, okay, so, you know what I'm saying, the Jedi, and that's one thing that, about the prequels that, you asked before, if the prequels weren't there, would it make you feel like the originals were better? But I think I would have to ask the question, before you watch the prequels, do they meet your expectation of what happened in the past, or what you thought would happen? Because that being said, it's the Jedi, or even the Jedi that were on the side of pretty much the light, or the light of the Force, and not on the dark side. I mean, these guys were pretty oblivious. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually really oblivious to the fact where it cost all of them, like, pretty much were wiped out. And it was just like, well, daggone, like, how strong is the dark side if it's able to do that? And it's just like, I don't know. It was based off the original series. I would have never thought that it would have played out like it did, how they depicted it in the prequels, based off how they went about telling the story. Because I would have never thought that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, okay, so the person you trained, you know what I'm saying, yeah, he can precede you, but, or like get better than you, but to that much extent, it's just like par none, just like, wow, like, what happened? Like, what really happened to where you guys were all wiped out? And it was just like, they were really misled. Like, and that was really very crucial. So that's probably the main aspect of this series I actually, out of those three movies I really liked, was the amount of deception. It was just masterful. Like, I was like, you deceived that many people, and it was just like, yeah, and it shows that the Jedi aren't, like the Jedi's, they're not, none of them are all powerful, like, or not all powerful, but none of them are as powerful as it would seem. Because you have the Sith, right? He's, you know what I'm saying, deceiving everybody, right? But at the same time, he's not the most powerful Jedi. You know what I'm saying? He almost got beat by Windu. So, well, actually, he did get beat by Windu. I don't know if he was playing Windu, so I don't know. But it was just interesting to see, man, because, like, it was very by chance that everything happened. Because he wasn't the most powerful, it didn't seem like. And he was pretty much, the last movie, he was pretty much operating. Nah, never mind, I'll change it. But no, the amount of deception was just crazy. That's what I liked about it. I had to really think about that answer, because I was just like, this is really deep. What the other example is gonna come back to me when it drops. I'm like, oh yeah.
Is it about Count Dooku when he let you want to do?
No, this is what happened. I'm sorry I got so loud. I just remember what it was. If Obi-Wan Kenobi would have killed Anakin, like just stabbed him, none of this would have happened. Or not, none of it would have happened. But bruh, if he would have killed him,
that's actually a fair point.
Like, by chance, Obi-Wan Kenobi didn't fully kill him. Like, the chance that Anakin is still alive, bruh, is just crazy. It's like, by chance, everything just folded the way it did.
So you're trying to say that Kenobi, what he should have done is he should have crept down the hill and took his foot and slowly pushed his ass into the fucking river. That's what you're saying.
I mean, you didn't have to go that far.
But, I mean, because, like, we were talking about earlier, too, like, okay, like, he didn't have to leave him there to, like, burn to death. As he did, you know what I'm saying? Like, to have the man suffer and die, it could just, like, finish him and just made it quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you think people would, not people, but you would think that would have been on the table. So.
No, I agree. I do think that if Kenobi just straight up, just cut his head off or something, I mean, it's messed up, but at the same time, fool's tripping, right? He done killed like a room full of children at this point. He's just like, he's okay with accepting the dark side fully.
I mean, the thing was though, he mute real quick though. He didn't have to train this kid. After the point that Qui-Gon Jinn died, everybody had assessed that this kid was dangerous, that him just being there, yeah, he could be a self-fulfilling prophecy, put balance in the force, which he eventually, that's the whole realization of everything, that he actually really did. He was the one that ended Palpatine. It wasn't Luke. It was Luke unraveling him, but he did make that balance later on in his life, which is interesting. But Obi-Wan could have left his tail there on that dirt planet, and this wouldn't have happened either. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, it could have been then. It could have been Obi-Wan found out, which I don't know how he wouldn't have found out that Anakin and this girl got a secret marriage. If anybody would have found that out early, that would have cut it as well. The thing about the prequels that is a good thing and a bad thing is that they have to tie into making them become the sequels. And that's the whole entire thing, because no matter what, even if Obi-Wan would have stabbed him through, Anakin would have become Darth Vader, because that's what the original trilogy is about, and that's what these prequels are. And I think like a lot of prequels, that's what they kind of have problems with, because they have to live up to getting to that point, and that's the whole issue with it. But as far as the things that I liked about it, how do I put it? I think that Revenge of the Sith, seeing it from now, like me knowing how life is, you know, how you get pulled in different directions and you're trying to do the right thing, looking at Anakin from a little kid all the way to that point, he still had this inherent need to be able to save people. Matter of fact, he was obsessed with trying to keep people alive. I think when his mother got lost, when everything was happening as far as the turmoil with Padme, like, it consumed him. But it was like, it was well executed in the sense of how I was like, man, this sucks for this kid, because he's supposed to be the savior, but he's not even a Jedi Master. They won't even classify him as a Jedi Master because he's being used and manipulated. He has this brother, this father figure that he really can't trust, and he really is competing against. And so it's like, no matter what, from episode 1 even until episode 3, he really was just a lone person. Even like the cloth that he wore, it was completely dark. Just because he didn't find present in himself that even though he was supposedly the chosen one, he never really truly accepted that. It was like did my life really matter? And I felt that through not necessarily Hayden Christensen's performance, but the way that it was kind of drawn out over time. I did love the music for this one. I mean, Duel of Fates, like, I loved that. I loved one of those scores for probably, I guess, Revenge of the Sith and The Phantom Menace are my favorite between those. But the other thing I will say is that, like Joe said, Palpatine played them dudes like a fiddle, bro. Like, when I think about episode 1, and he was kind of like talking with Padme and trying to help her out, and he got pushed in the Senate slowly, and you see, like, by episode 2, he's directly in line to being the successor. And he kind of implored her to go and meet up with Anakin because he knew that she would be distracted. She wouldn't be at the Senate being able to do what she had to do. And then by the time it gets to the third one, he's already, you know, the higher up. And it was just easy for them to manipulate everything. But it was like, he played Count Dooku as well, because Count Dooku told Obi-Wan, when Obi-Wan got captured, he was like, look, Darth Sidious has control of the Senate. Obi-Wan didn't even listen. And I was like, at that point, I realized, dang, he played Count Dooku as well. So it was like, he's setting all these different things up. He's playing all the right notes. And it's just one of him. Because, I mean, yeah, General Grievous got used. In my opinion, Darth Maul was the only other real Sith that was there present. But he really, in my opinion, he was just like a tool as well. So I think that the way that they handled, like, what Sidious did throughout most of it was definitely one of the biggest things about this. I don't know, and also like some of the one-liners with how they did the fight choreography. The fight choreography, I think, they put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it. But one of the things that they said in the new movie is that they said that for The Force Awakens, they wanted to recapture how the old style of fighting was, which was passionate, which was not necessarily all choreographed like a dance, but just like how I'm going to kill you or take you out. Because I'm sitting there looking at Empire Strikes Back, he was not holding back with Luke at all. Like, he was making this kid suffer. Like, I was saying something just hits Luke inside the head. I was like, dang! Like, he's trying to kill him. Like, there was a moment, I think he jumped down from the rafters. He almost took Luke out. And, I mean, that's one of the things that are so exciting about them versus the prequels, because the prequels, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of emotion. But there was this one moment, I think, in Episode 1 when Qui-Gon died, and I saw Ewan McGregor go out, just like losing it in anger, in my opinion, against Darth Maul. I thought that was well done. That was definitely one of the better fights throughout most of the Star Wars series in general. Because to me, it didn't feel like a fluid dance. It felt like it was a real life battle, and hopefully they recapture that with The Force Awakens. But I mean, like I said, for me, I don't dislike the prequels. I think that definitely, Attack of the Clones was definitely the weakest link, and probably Revenge of the Sith was the best out of the prequels. But there are certain things that I really can pull that I actually did like. You were entertaining, and when I looked at them when I was a kid, I actually really enjoyed them. But I don't know. What do y'all think in the comment section below? Did y'all enjoy the prequels? Did anybody out there give it 2 thumbs up for all the way through? Let us know in the comment sections below. I don't know if anybody's gonna say yes or they're just gonna call blasphemy. I don't know.
I think the only positives that I can think of are because there's definitely not many. Shit. I mean, the sound design and the soundtrack for the entire saga is kind of flawless, I think. I don't think they've ever, I don't think they've ever skipped a beat there. Like the pod racing scene, the sound effects in that shit is crazy. I think they're all in 7.1 surround sound. The saga, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
The clarity is stupid good. Like again, in that pod race scene, just individual pods have their own distinctive sounds and shit. It's and I don't know. I think another positive is that I think that George Lucas had a lot of great concepts. The execution was just god awful, but he had a lot of really great concepts, particularly visually. I loved the different ideas he had for the environments. Like the idea of Anakin and Kenobi having a fight in a volcanic landscape. If it was done perfectly, oh my god, it would have been incredible. You know what I mean? Or some of the cityscapes and shit. I really loved the concepts for the environments a lot. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really interesting, that they were just so different. And the plot-wise, I think he had...
Uh-oh. Hello? Joe, you still there? I don't know what's going on. I think that Jor-Els just got froze, y'all. I apologize. Yeah, dude. So, I guess we kind of touched on almost everything. We talked about the negatives. We talked about the positives. We talked about the connection with it. Do you feel like, Joe, that... Oh, snap. Hey, what's up, Lucas?
What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Man, I heard y'all just crapping on Attack of the Clones.
We didn't crap on it. We didn't crap on it. Right now, matter of fact, we're talking about everybody at YouTube. This is great friend Lucas. He's on the side critic, but we're talking about what we liked about the prequels. We already went past everything we didn't like. So
okay.
I'll give you a chance to talk about what you liked about it. Jor-Els, you back? I guess he's back. He's kind of not looking. But yeah, what did you like about the prequels, man?
Well, the prequels were my first introduction into Star Wars. Because it was a while before I had even seen any of these movies. I think it's been maybe 8 months ago that I sat and watched all 6 of them at one time just to catch up on the series. And with the prequels, why I there's not much positive I can say about Episode 1 because I didn't like that at all. But Attack of the Clones, because I also really didn't like Return of the Jedi, and then I didn't like Episode 1. So for me, Attack of the Clones brought back the fun in the series.
Okay.
It just felt like mindless, early 80s action movie, like a Flash Gordon with better special effects.
Okay.
So it worked for me. I said, okay, I don't have to think to see this. I don't have to even care about anything. I can get past the bad dialogue, the horrible love story, and just enjoy the action. And that's how I took Attack of the Clones. It was just straight action to me, and I really enjoyed it for that reason.
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith, to me, that's the third best movie of this whole series. So I really enjoyed it. Like,
I mean, what did you like about it?
Amazingly, the performances is what got me the most. Not Hayden Christensen, because he's bad in all of these movies, but everyone around him tended to be good. And this was, I don't know if this was a time where George Lucas allowed someone else to help him write in the prequels, because this one, at least the dialogue was a little better. Like, in the other ones, the dialogue is horrible. But for this one, the dialogue tended to be a little better. And this is the CGI wasn't too overly done like it was in Attack of the Clones in Revenge of the Sith. And I don't know if someone, again, told him, well, you may need to pull back a little bit. You can't, like, go full, as what they say, Tropical Thunder is full retarded with the CGI as he did in Attack of the Clones. I mean, Revenge of the Sith was a really good movie when I saw it. And, you know, that's, again, I don't know if it's because I was coming off of watching all 6 of them and I was at the end of the series and I'm like, thank God it's over. Or I'm like, really sat through and I was like, man, this is a really good movie. Again, coming off of Return of the Jedi and Episode 1, which I didn't like either one of them too. So to come in Attack of the Clones and I'm like, okay, this is mindless action. And then Revenge of the Sith, I'm like, okay, you're trying to give me a bit of a storyline. I'm not saying it was believable, but you tried to give me something, and I enjoyed it for that.
Yeah. And, I mean, you would say that you initially coming in weren't like a diehard Star Wars fan or a fan at all, but something about these kind of pulled you to want to continue going with it from that. Because one of the questions that we asked was that if these prequels had not exist, would the weight of the mythology of the Star Wars universe have grown or would have diminished? Like, some of us assess basically that if these prequels didn't exist, then it wouldn't have carried on to the future generation, and as well as it might not have had that progression. But from your standpoint, like not necessarily being a diehard Star Wars fan, did the prequels help you continue to want to maybe look at this new one, or what was your take on that?
No, not at all. Like, the prequels didn't make my mind up about that. I remember when I was hearing about it being in production for Part 7. That's what made me say, okay, I need to sit down and actually try to watch why we're making a 7th film in this series. Now, the prequels, I can see how it helps with the backstory for some people, but I think that's more for individuals who are already ingrained into the series. The prequels, I feel, are much more for people who just love the original 3 and wanted more. Because even if you could sit down kids nowadays and show them the original 3 and they can get into the series. I don't believe you need the prequels to get into the series. Because in all honesty, once Part 7 comes out, how much are you going to really care about what happens in the prequels?
None.
But, I mean, it was just fun action for the time period. It was a great money grab for Fox and George, and it gave some of the diehard fans from the original trilogy something. And I think that was the most important part of this whole trilogy, is that it gave them something.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I guess...
as somebody...
No, go ahead.
But as somebody who, wasn't really ingrained in the Star Wars, I could have went without the prequels and just saw the original 3. And in all honesty, it may have made me want to see Part 7 even more.
Wow.
If I didn't see those 3 prequels.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weighty.
Yeah, that goes back to that. Which, by the way, this is Lucas?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Lucas.
cool. All right, cool. I'm Jor-El, by the way. This kind of goes back to the point I was making, like, when Prometheus didn't exist, the original Alien, if, you know, the fact that we had gone all those years without knowing what that big-ass alien astronaut meant, I thought that was a plus. I thought the mystery was a plus. You know what I mean? Like, if there weren't any prequels and then there was just a seventh movie, I think the mystery of sort of not knowing so vividly about Kenobi's backstory or Vader's backstory would actually been more of a plus, honestly. And I think it wouldn't be a conversation of is Force Awakens going to defeat Avatar at the box office? It'd be more of a combination like is Force Awakens about to like triple what Avatar did at the box office?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Which it still might do, for the record, but still. I think it would have been better if, you know. Well, I see. Then again, I feel like a seventh movie would have, or just a sequel to the original trilogy would have been inevitable either way, prequels or no prequels.
I guess. I mean, I feel like if they would have had that opportunity, they would have kind of taken it at that time. And I'm not sure if it was George wanted to do other things or if it's the cast. I feel like there was kind of like a small falling out after Return of the Jedi that they didn't continue on because they easily could have, you know. So it's like I just can't see them after, shoot, how many years? This is in the 80s, 20-some years,
Yeah, 20
making
years.
a brand new one. Like when, 1999 was when I don't think I would see them actually doing it. I just really can't if they would have never done something like this.
Well, now the way they bring back all the movies from the 80s, it would have been easy. I think this would have been one of the first ones they would have said, okay, we haven't had a Star Wars movie since 1980. We clearly still have a fan base that loves it.
Yeah.
Let's move forward and make another movie. I don't think it would have had anything to do with the prequels.
I think a better question maybe would have been if the prequels didn't exist, will we have a sequel to the original trilogy that looks as good as what we're about to get? I think that'd be a better question.
Or, yeah, I think that ties in with what we'd also said. It was like, would as many people going to see it? Because, I mean, most of the generation now, young kids, they hadn't even seen the original trilogy. They literally looked at the prequels. And so it's like, would they have been interested in it? You know?
Yeah, that sounds absolutely horrible for their generation.
Right.
That's bad, but it's true. It's so true. Like, I know that I have, like, friends that have, like, daughters or sons that, I mean, all they know is the prequels. They don't know anything about the original series at all. So
Well, I'm gonna ask you this: like, regardless of, do you think it'll be better if they didn't have it? Do you think they succeeded? Do you think with the prequels they succeeded in what they were trying to do?
Shit.
wait, say that again.
Do you think? All right. Let me ask you this. Okay, let's say, for instance, there was, at this point in the game, there was no prequels, but they said, hey, we're gonna make the prequels, and they release it right now, right? Do you think they would meet your expectation? Did the movies that were made, did they meet your expectation what a prequel should be? Do you think that they succeeded in making a good prequel to the series?
Well, I hate prequels. I mean, to be quite real with you, like, I mean, the reason why I don't like prequels is because they have to be put in a box and consolidated unless the story wasn't authentic by itself. Case in point, the Harry Potter prequel that's about to come up. Like that's its own. It's not gonna be bad. Harry Potter it can be really good. But I mean, no, absolutely not. It can never.
Well, prequels in general are bad, but
True.
like the Fast series, the Fast and Furious series.
We talked about
three. Yeah, that was 3 prequels that I'm not gonna say they were done well, but for their audience, it was perfect for them.
No, I agree. That's
But
one
like,
of the things that I even said.
but like the Star Wars prequels, I mean, the point of them was to make money, and I think it succeeded greatly at that. It was amazing, but I don't think in advancing any form of storyline it did anything that matters.
No.
And the point that, like, I'm still confused on honestly what was the point of making prequels besides saying let's give people something that they really missed and make a boatload of money off of it. Other than that, what was really the point of making prequels? Even though I would say if we didn't get the prequel, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I would say if we didn't get the prequels, the fear would have been.
Sorry.
If we didn't get the prequels, the fear would have been George Lucas would have ended up making the next episodes. I don't think he would have gotten rid of the Star Wars property if there weren't prequels made, which could have been the horrible dialogue that you get from the prequels would have been in episode 7, 8, and 9 because he wouldn't have sold it off.
Wow. That's real.
Damn.
That's
No, I was just gonna say, like, is anyone aware of like how much material has spawned from the prequels in terms of canon? Do you know what I mean?
Lot.
I mean, like successful canon though. Like I know, like what's that one shit? Was it like Rebels or something? Isn't that?
So you got Clone Wars, Rebels, the Emmy nominated, animation, the games. I mean, oh my gosh, a lot of the games for 64, PlayStation. I mean, they around the world did really successful with their marketing. I mean, they did a really good job with that. I don't know as far as the books are concerned.
Sure.
I've read some interesting good comics that were in between.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the prospect of in between that, like I could say that yeah, they did.
I mean, my main point was that I feel like the prequels were just made for merchandise and like maybe canon, possibly.
Yeah.
For sure. Like certain
Merchandise,
games.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely merchandise. Man, you can't go anywhere without seeing something at this point. And man, I mean, you managed to sell a series with 6 films for what, $9 billion? Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Come on, like,
Right.
It's not even, no need to say any more than that. It's, come on. They were.
By the way, did the old Republic
Hello?
video game? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, dude, that was one of my favorite Star Wars games. Like, I still had that poster in my freaking closet somewhere.
Yeah, the Old Republic, did that come after the prequels?
Yeah.
The video games? Okay.
It was around the same time, if not right after.
Yeah, I was going to say, were those spawned because of the prequels, or did those exist just by happenstance?
I think, honestly, man, that there were people that back then, I mean, we were in the Counter-Strike, Quake, Doom, and all these kind of awesome games, but when this game came out, around the same time that everybody was, like, buzzing around, like, the Phantom Menace, like, is this going to be the most ultimate game? Everybody was, like, curious about Star Wars, just like they are right now. Like, what we're feeling right now is kind of like that same exact feeling, and people were just like, oh, wow, Star Wars game? This full RPG, and you can actually make choices of good or bad. Mm-hmm. I think that I don't necessarily say it was the goodness of these movies that did that, but I think that people noticing like Star Wars is back again, it made them want to jump on it again, because that's what it was for me. Like, if I had never really kind of gotten back into these prequels, I never would have been as curious about getting into a Star Wars game. I'd be like, oh, well, whatever, you know. But I was thinking, man, I'm sitting there looking at Darth Maul, I'm looking at Qui-Gon, I want to wave a lightsaber here or there. I think there was another game, Jedi Outcast, that came out, as well as Starfighter, that came for 64, like around the same exact time. And yeah, I think that was the time where Star Wars was starting to make its boom for this generation that we're in right now. So yeah.
But yeah. I will say one positive from the prequels was that when I was a kid, I thought that Natalie Portman was bad as hell. I was like, dang, who is that? Yeah. I was like, my God. You remember that scene towards the end of Attack of the Clones when she had this white get-up? It was some stupid shit was going on, like this giant lizard, and there was like pillars. I forgot what the hell was going on. Some stupid shit, but she was on point though.
Wow.
There was so much stupidity going on. Like there's like conveyor belt moments and shit. I was like, what the hell is George doing? But she was looking good though.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's a good thing to look at least. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. I just was thinking, like, wow, they ruined a little kid from The Professional. That's all I thought. That's all. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, these were two young, like, up-and-coming great actors. Like, I think Hayden was coming off of a SAG and a Golden Globe nomination for Life as a House, and Natalie was building herself up, and then they get trapped in George Lucas's horrible dialogue for like the next 4 years. And you just like, man.
Wasn't he nominated for Big Fish?
Yes. He was a great actor before George Lucas got a hold of him. Like, just...
Yeah, one actually, real quick, one thing I was going to say, I had sort of gotten cut off because my phone died out of nowhere, but I was saying that I think maybe my one and only positive, in all seriousness, of the prequels, I think that George had a lot of great concepts. Obviously, the execution was terrible, but I think he had a lot of great concepts, especially visually. The dual lightsabers, the pod racing, particularly the environments. Like I was saying before, the idea of Anakin Kenobi fighting in this volcanic landscape, I thought was a fucking ingenious idea. Could you imagine if we had never seen a lightsaber volcanic sort of landscape battle, and J.J. Abrams like gave a hint as to like we're gonna see that kind of a battle in Force Awakens? People would have been like, "Oh my god!" So I think he had a lot of great concepts, particularly visually. I mean, the dual lightsaber, or even just the look of Darth Maul, is still genius to me to this very day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say is maybe the only positives, and well, that and the soundtrack and the sound effects, which are perfect. But
yeah,
that's
I did like that sequence with Kamino when Obi-Wan was fighting up against Jango Fett. I thought that like the visual side of that was probably to me one of the best visual parts of the movie, because it was all the range shot. It was all seemed like it was like actual environment side versus like it's being like a big old CG back screen, and I actually appreciated that sequence. But yeah, I don't know. Anybody got anything else you want to add on this?
Oh yeah, man, that scene with all those Jedi's fighting. Oh my gosh, that was like the best. That was like the best scene. With that, like they like kind of like invaded that arena, gladiator style, and just, brawling. Oh my goodness, that was dope. That was dope.
We will never see that again.
Probably, literally, like you will never see that again.
Jedi for
Not enough Jedi for it. That scene was fire. I was like, oh snap, it's about to go down.
I can't believe they killed Darth Maul in the first
Oh man,
yeah.
Wow, bro. Darth Maul was cold-blooded, bro.
Yeah, he was that dude.
Well, he did that though.
he deserved at least 2 movies.
Yeah, he really did. That's a good point. He really did.
That's my main problem with the whole prequels, all the prequels. There's no overarching villain. I mean, you need that Darth Vader type villain to go over all the movies, and Darth Maul, I thought that's what he was for, up until you sliced him in half, and I'm like, damn it.
But, I mean, the thing is, though, with the Clone Wars, that he plays one of the biggest villains on the side of this show. Like, him and his brother are one of the most pivotal parts because they actually give him a mechanical body at the lower half of his body. And, like, go and look at the CG prequels. Darth Maul is alive. And, like, he goes on a war path to try to kill Obi-Wan for what he did to him. Like, him and his brother. And his brother's just as strong as he is.
See, but that makes it even worse. Because now you're telling me they made him the main villain, and they said, you know what, we're just going to make you a little supporting character in the next film. Like, you can't do that.
So, this is in the show. This is in the Clone Wars show. Like, around the 4th season. Yeah. Like, they put him up on this kind of level. And not just that, I think he actually got, like, a new lightsaber, like a black lightsaber. And I was like, dang, I ain't never seen anything like that. Either way, what I'm saying is that his character did live. And you're right. They could have easily done more with him. Even General Grievous. In the freaking animated, did any of y'all look at the animated movie? Or the one that's, the 2D animation? General Grievous in the 2nd season, bruh, he wiped out like 6 Jedi, and you actually literally get to see his functionality. Like, if you have not seen it, go and look at the Emmy-nominated 2D version of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, because it's amazing. Even like when they showcase Mace Windu, like they show him like take out dudes like it ain't nothing, and it's amazing to watch those characters there where they could have been easily executed, but they wanted to use them as canon, like you said, and for filler. And I mean, that's the bad thing about these prequels. Like, they put everything conceptualized into a box, and what can you do? But I mean, I can say that from these movies, there are some really good content. Like I really recommend anybody that hasn't seen it to go check them out. See if I can find it somewhere. Yeah, these right here. It's kind of dark.
Oh, okay.
I definitely recommend you check that out.
I thought for a second you were saying I recommend checking out the prequels. I
So what you're saying is this anime series that's Star Wars.
It's better than the movies.
Is it better than the movies?
You just said they're better than the movies.
It's better than the movies.
So in other words,
click.
George Lucas has nothing to do with it, so it made it so much better. So much better. That's what you're saying.
Well, it's like what Jor-Els said. His conceptual designs were genius. Actual designs and the concepts were genius. Yeah. And if nobody would have presented that, we would have never had these. Just like The Force Awakens, the same as that conceptual design that gave us this connection that we have with this new movie. But, I mean, yeah, his execution, other than the first movie, I mean, it's, yeah.
So the question would be, if the movies were made the way he wanted it to be, which was, they say, well, George didn't want to direct any of the prequels. He wanted, I think, Steven Spielberg, he wanted to direct the prequels. Steven turned him down. Then he went to my man who did the Polar Express. I'm losing focus of the director.
Damn.
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah, yep, that's what.
He went to him, and he turned him down. Mm-hmm. So he went to other people who he thought could do a better job with the prequels, and all of them told him, no, this is your baby, you should do it. So we should be blaming all of them for the prequels. Because all it took was for one of them to say yes. Because I think he knew that, okay, I'm not a great writer, as he's now openly admitted in his, I think in his acceptance speech to the American Film Institute award that he got, when he said, I was never the best writer. Mm-hmm. I just came up with great ideas. Mm-hmm. It would have been great to get that in someone else's hands. His great ideas and the more talented director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what
you would have got better films.
Was The Empire Strikes Back was directed by somebody else. And like
Yes.
that's the biggest thing. So you're absolutely right. I think they would have benefited from that. Sad he was never able to.
Damn it, George.
This was a good discussion, y'all. Does anybody got anything else before we close out?
Yeah, y'all crapped on Attack of the Clones, and I really like that movie.
I mean, Attack of the Clones, that was a good one. I don't got no. You know what I'm saying? Attack of the Clones was pretty good.
Heck, you talking
I
about?
joined fire, bro. Alright, that's what I'm saying. Alright, y'all.
One thing I do want to say real quick is that I hate motherfuckers who are like, I remember when I was doing my review for Attack of the Clones, I had said something about General Grievous. I was like, why does this robot have a back off, blah, blah. And some dude was like, oh, well, actually, he's a cyborg because of blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, listen. You should not need the canon to, like, understand Grievous in the movie. Like, when I'm watching the movie, like, only the information from that movie should matter. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have had to have known all this backstory from canon just to understand why Grievous has this damn cough and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate that. I just hate that. Like, come on, man.
No, I agree. I feel like you shouldn't necessarily have to go to the canon to understand the movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But hey, it happens.
all you sweaty nerds need to calm down. Okay? Calm down. Tone it down.
Look, Joe, you like it so much, I'm gonna give you this DVD. It's yours.
I want the Blu-ray.
Man, you can get the Blu-ray. You get the DVD. That's what.
So you
wait.
Fire.
This is a genuine good question. What do you guys think is the worst scene from the prequels? Period.
It's gotta be a romance scene. There has to be.
Which scene now? Like
Oh snap, man! Shoot.
I think the worst scene for me has. I mean, there's so many, but I think it has to be. It has to be when Padme. She was looking real good. She was looking good, but it was like Padme and Anakin were on the couch, and he was just talking some bullshit, man. In Attack of the Clones. And he said something. He was like, when you're not around, I can't breathe. I was like, that whole scene is comedic gold. I'm telling you.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a place I can't follow. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Anakin said. Anakin was like, "Man, that cat just came back. A long day at work. Don't want to hear that crap." Like, shut up. What's joke?
Bruh. When she was saying that, when she was like, "You're breaking my heart," and they went to Kenobi on the ship. This motherfucker was ready to whoop some ass.
Oh snap!
Kenobi was ready to beat that ass.
Yeah. Oh my. That one romance scene with they were Anakin and Padme on the balcony. She had,
and Risen the Sith.
What was that garbage, bro?
I was like, Padme.
Kiss up on her boo and just like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have done that. He was like, what did I do?
And I bet he was thinking, oh, when I was rubbing your back, you didn't say nothing. That was okay. The world, this was like a mug.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man. Dude, we can keep going with this, but we're going to leave it alone. Like somebody even said, like the kid that played Anakin in episode 1 was a terrible actor. After that point, I was like, you know what, y'all gotta be stopped. That's just wrong.
Hey, he was though. He was a terrible actor.
No, he was a kid.
He was.
He was horrible.
He was terrible.
No, it's
Bro.
not. Let's not go there. This is not.
No,
Wasn't the kid from The Sixth Sense? Wasn't he out then? Like, couldn't you have put him in a role?
bruh, oh God, the whole cast of Super 8 was better than this. Well, the whole cast of the Goonies was better than this one kid. Like, oh God. Come on. Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 1 was better than this kid. All right? Jesus.
The kid that replaced Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 3 was better than this. The dude was horrible.
But it's the kid that played in Jingle All the Way. I mean, what do you expect? I mean,
No, that's no excuse. That's if you're gonna make a love story between a teenage girl and a 5-year-old boy, at least have the boy be able to act better.
that won't even right anyway. Well, we're gonna stop because we're going down a path that. I mean, we kept it simple up until this point, so we're gonna try to keep it, you know, keep it, dumb it down. All right, so in conclusion, we hated the prequel. Now I'm just playing.
For the record, that joint was fire.
Man, really, Joe? Anyway, but yeah, thanks everybody for watching this open discussion. Tomorrow we're going to try to do the original trilogy, and we're going to do an open discussion about those. So anybody that wants to join in, definitely stay tuned for that. Maybe around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier. But yeah, just want to talk about everybody that's here. So Jor-Els, Lucas, if y'all want to just kind of introduce yourself before we get out of here, and then we'll close out.
All right, cool.
If you guys don't know, my channel, YouTube channel, Jor-Els Alexandria, that's where I'm at. I do a lot of mostly movie-related stuff, but there is like TV show and album reviews and reaction type of stuff that I do, and got a lot of my own art on there as well. And my first film is up, and check it out.
Yeah, Saturn. Yeah, man.
Check it out. Plug. Selfish plug.
All right, Lucas, what do you want to say about yourself, man? Who are you?
Oh man, who me? That's a good question. Just a regular moviegoer. That's it, man. I mean, no YouTube channel. I have no art up anywhere. I need to get some, I assume, because he was leaning real cool back in the chair when he said that. I need to get art up so I can lean back cool in the chair like that too. Just, man, I see at least 200 movies a year at this point, and
Holy
so
Jesus.
yeah, like this is one of my passions. I love movies. I love every aspect of it.
Wait,
So-
how many 2015 movies have you seen? Like just strictly 20,
Every one of them.
Oh man, like it's.
Because I think I've only seen maybe a little bit to maybe. I mean, it sounds crazy, but maybe a little bit into like 60.
Oh nah, I gotta. At this point, it's gotta be closer to 170 right now for this year. This year was
Bruh.
kind of slower than normal for me because I didn't see a lot of the films that came out during the summer. A lot of the smaller films that came out during the summer that I
Sure.
should have seen.
Damn.
Yeah, you need to get a YouTube channel, or at least do reviews again. That's what
Yeah,
you need
man.
to do.
Do like a podcast or something, because that's vicious right there. Damn.
But
100.
yeah. So you got Joe Johnson, 030.
Yeah, y'all know Joe Johnson 030. Check out my mixtape. It drop in April. Holes in my pocket. That's the name of it. Check me on YouTube, JVS channel, where you can watch me taste different cuisines, different types of foods. And we'll show you how to cook on there too.
Bam. Wow.
Damn, I need that type of channel right there, Joe. He got a mixtape and he's cooking. Man, he probably making clothes too. I need to get something at this point.
I might as well call
Right.
Joe Lucas Lyon Jr. What in the world? Anyway, we JVS. Of course, you know what I'm saying. Like, keep it alive. We're gonna be doing a lot of Star Wars stuff the rest of this week. We need to go ahead and actually finish out looking at Return of the Jedi. So come back tomorrow. We're gonna be doing an open discussion on the original trilogy. Thanks everybody for watching. We're about to be out. It was fun, y'all. Peace.